Good morning and welcome to Local Omaha. I'm Ken Bartholomew.
I'm Kelsey Weedle, and we're here today with our guest, Megan Hayes.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
So
Thank
each week, sometimes every other week, we're a small community boost and small business podcast, and we like to get different entrepreneurs in here, community leaders, individuals like that, talk some about what they're doing in the community, but also about their small businesses, kind of their journey, where they've been, what they're doing, that type thing. So, and again, Kelsey, I'll go to you and let you introduce
today
Megan.
the business we're focusing on, and the person we're focusing on is our guest, Megan. So Megan Hayes, and she has a super unique business that she is very qualified for. I love reading about your business.
Thank you.
It's called Live It Forward. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Live
Megan,
It
tell us a
Forward.
little bit about how you got started.
Oh, that's almost a toughie, I feel like, in a sense, because it could go everywhere.
That's why I was like, we'll start at the very beginning,
Yeah.
and you tell us.
A little bit. So I'll take it twofold. So one, Live It Forward, the name, actually, I'll take it from that play, came from so much just this thing called life, right? That we all have. Things happen, good, bad, and, the otherwise.
Sure.
But let's even stick on things bad happening just for a moment. Like, I had to sit in this world where things kept happening to me. Like everybody else, we have this story. And I was like, I just have to live it. I just have to go, I have to do the things. And then it adapted, morphed as things do, to live it forward. And so that truly became a mantra, how I lived my life and what I was doing. So then the question you asked was like, kind of how everything started. I've always loved wellness and fitness and moving. And so about 25 years ago, when I was super young, things started. I was like, I wanted to help more people. So I actually started my first LLC. It was called Live Fit and Well. So little play on it. And it just, like I said, kept morphing. So I just wanted to help more people. And it's ended up not just people. Now I focus more on women, looking at women over 30 to help in strength training, nutrition, and wellness.
I love that we get to see your personality and things that are important to you. I love what we do is we get to see how people morph who they are and what's important to them. And I am always surprised, but I'm not sure why, that it's because people want to help people. People truly do want to do the things that they're good at and what they're passionate about in a way that helps people. So I love hearing that you have found your niche with your business.
Truly.
So let me, do you have a physical location? Is it all online? Or how does that, what's that set up?
That setup for me, majority of it is online.
Okay.
So majority of it is app-based. So right now I white label an app, means I don't own the app.
Okay.
It's not proprietary to me. Nice. It's not mine. Someday, it'll happen.
Sure.
It's back here. It's back here. But so I don't own the app, but I white label, so my company is on it. Majority of my stuff is on there, Ken.
Okay.
So it's, I'd say 90% of it.
Okay.
I do take in-home clients, but I live in Gretna, and that's not always everyone's space, meaning like travel. I mean, we're convenience as human nature.
Omaha is growing so much. We have such a different.
Yeah, so I do take some in-home clients, and right now I just have just under 10 in-home clients. I have very full gym, which is a blessing for me to get to use. So I train at home, and that's also what I build for people, is to be able to train at home.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So then with the program, obviously there's individuals that come in at different levels of strength. So, whether it's foundational kind of program, strength and conditioning, muscle, power, I mean, how's that play into it? Because, you can have one 40-year-old join who's rocking and rolling already and another one who is just getting going. How's that work?
So the way that it works is the 12 weeks is actually broken down into 4 different phases. And the first phase for everyone, in a sense, as we would know it in the industry, is a little bit of that deload. So for me, as somebody who's been or an advanced lifter, it'd kind of be my deload week. It'd be a little bit lighter, higher repetitions, a little more of that learning, keeping things more basic. So they're in that for a couple of weeks. And then the next 3 weeks, we take the reps down, we increase, make things a little harder, start to add some tempos. So there's teaching tools throughout, and they end then on power for the last 3 weeks. So they're increasing their strength and their power as they go through. Then the piece that helps those that if you would say they don't have as much experience, is there's always demonstrations.
I
There's
love
short
that.
videos that are demonstrations that are not on me yet. Someday again.
Fantastic.
That's the
It takes a while to build up that content.
it's like
There's a lot to do.
videos. Yeah. So short videos and then descriptions of what's expected of this workout and this block. So it helps guide them along the way. But I tell them the sets. I have the reps in there. I tell them the rest. So sets, reps, rest. And things are timed like the rest. So then you're not sitting there going, oh, I'm ready to go. Well, if you're ready to go, maybe you're not using the right weight right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's really easily lined out for everyone. It sounds like kind of beginners, more advanced
Truly.
people.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, I have to ask because your qualifications take up my entire sheet of paper. So I was just blown away by how qualified you are, because I feel like the fitness industry can be difficult sometimes. And you
Fair.
have that person who got their personal training certification online and then didn't really put it into practice, didn't really advance. But this seems like this is your life. This is your meaning. This is your way to live. And you've really kept up with adding on additional certifications and things like that. So tell us a little bit about your education background and things like that.
So originally in school, I actually wanted to be a dietitian.
Okay.
So I went to the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I did all the hard stuff, the organic chem, everything. And it got to the practical, and I was starting to think, I'm going to have to take a test to be an RD. So I bailed.
Yeah.
Took a little break from school.
National test, I'll take you back a minute.
Yeah, I'm all testing, and we don't have the tools that we have now for test anxiety. We didn't have it then.
And the registered dietitian program is difficult because it's only available at a select few schools. So there aren't near as many resources back then as there are.
Oh no,
Yeah.
there was not.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous about that side of it, though. Again, school went well for me. So took a break from school, came back, same school. They didn't have then the RD or even a nutrition certification I could finish. So I had to take the emphasis, even though I had 3.5 years. And so my major became exercise science. And for me, it was movement. I just loved movement. And I was like, okay, how can I do something that I love? Because I'm already so far in this journey of nutrition. So it was, how do we fold them both together? That happened. And to be very honest, I never wanted to be a personal trainer.
I know. Yeah, you try to avoid it as much as you can, because I did basically the same route, and then I went to another school that didn't have the registered dietitian. Yeah. So I went with my bachelor's in biology and health education.
Yes.
Like, what do I do with all these credits?
Right.
Well, you want to help people and you want to teach them, it's health literacy is kind of a privilege. A lot of people don't know. That's why I love that you have videos on your app. They just weren't, either they just didn't grow up with that. That wasn't part of their education. They're just not sure how to proceed.
Yeah.
So having all these qualifications, you can kind of ease them into that with this great wealth of background of knowledge that you have.
Yeah, and that's where it just, everything started to fold. So I didn't want to be a personal trainer, and I ended up getting the degree exercise science, added more certifications. Soon after, I worked for a company. It's called Les Mills. They're actually an international company.
Yeah.
And I worked not only full-time for them, but I was a national trainer for them.
Okay.
So in Body Pump and Les Mills Grit, and then their core program. And
That's a huge program.
it was phenomenal. So for just about 14 years, I trained instructors how to teach. And I did their starting program and then their advanced program. So it was just such a great experience for me to learn how to teach, how to speak, how to help, that then I was like, all right, so I am meant to be a trainer. So along the way, I'm training, whether I knew it or not. Yeah. And so I got great opportunities to where I was always had side gigs, and I was like, sweet, I'm going to do group fitness classes. I'm going to do personal training, small group. And it just kind of started to grow. And that's where a lot of the certifications started to come from, whether I added the wellness coaching, whether I did the behavioral coaching. I got my yoga certification because, people see me as very poppy and high energy and edgy, but I actually do very well on that chill side, and it's kind of the yin to yang.
I'm so jealous. That's amazing.
Yeah, so
cool.
the yoga aspect was just another great balance to add to it.
I think that helps with a lot of the physiology and kinesiology too. Some people, they go deep in. Do you ever see people going super deep into the weightlifting, but then they forget about the functional movement? And I love that your program is so comprehensive that it includes all of these different aspects of that.
And that kind of goes back to, Ken, when you kind of ask, like, what's the program constructed of? How do you hit, whether they're beginner, intermediate, and those pieces? So the way I describe it is, yes, I still want women to lift heavy things, but if you're doing it at home, we're probably using dumbbells, but that's fair. And so I kind of taken that traditional, you can call it bodybuilding, lifting, but a little bit of Olympic lifting things are in there. A lot of the functional stuff is in there. So I'm a little bit of all the flavors. And I just want women to get stronger and be able to move.
Right.
And
it's important.
yeah. And in that, that's where the phases come from. But I do the strength training side of stuff. I want them to do the cardio. Cardio is free. Go outside, walk, run, skip, all the things. And not skip the things, skip outside. Yeah.
So, Kelsey and I have mentioned on some previous podcasts that we worked together the last 6.5, 7 years in a brick and mortar gym that we had out in far West Omaha. And that's a different environment than what you're doing, obviously. But one of the things that we noticed, and in speaking with other people in the industry, is how the industry's changed, especially with COVID. So what has that been like for you from 2019 on? I mean, I know in the gym business, there used to be this surge at the beginning of the year. That's really not that big of a thing anymore. Like I remember in the gym, our best month I think was September, and that had to do. Now some of that's going to be where you're located, where you're at, some things like that, obviously. Yeah. But and then I feel like a lot of people kind of switched the norm. I remember when the store shelves were all empty by people purchasing equipment to work out at home. Yeah. And now I'll just get to the question. So how's that worked for you, or how's that affected your business?
What changes have you seen in that? Yeah.
So I would say it actually helped relaunch again. So I've opened an LLC multiple times throughout the past 20 plus years. And I had actually started back in to doing training again prior to COVID. At COVID, I was like, I need to do this. So I made everything official, did the LLC, built the business again. So that's when it launched me even further. But again, prior to COVID, I was doing the Excel spreadsheets for here's how you train online. Right. Because we didn't have access to all those apps. Like they weren't as prevalent, or let's call it available. Like the cost of them wasn't available to us as coaches or users in the background. So COVID itself helped really launch. It was this desire, this need, and how do I reach more people? And we all know kind of what happened with the Zoom boom on that. Everybody going on, but it was like I already was using those tools.
And you already had them in place.
I already had them in place. And so then it just started to ramp up, but then it was now I need an app. And so I played around a few different apps, and I have landed on this one. It works. It's well. There are things I'd love to fix about it, but I think that sits in every nature of the beast. But you see more people who want to do more things. Now there's this continual shift from COVID, who wants to do it at home, who wants to do it in a gym. Right. And I feel like we're coming back a little bit more to who wants to do it at home. Like they started, I actually want to go back, but it becomes that convenience you have time because during COVID, obviously it was at home. Equipment was off the shelves. Yeah. And they're like, I want access.
And if you can set aside that time and have that discipline, that's huge. But one of the things that we always worked to promote with inside the gym or just in the community is just, even if you're just moving, because there's so many things from people forget about, I think, mental health. Yep. And even if, I've been reading, I know. Trust me, they're short. They're articles. But I mean, even if if you're an overthinker, if you're starting to go down a path of depression,
that anxiety spiral you can find yourself in very easily. Yeah.
And then if you just move. Yeah. If you just, like you said, the cardio is free.
And that's the flip side for me. I took that, and that's why I have monthly challenges or the monthly accountability, which is also subscription. You asked about subscription earlier, but it's for that sake. So it's the wholeness, all around holistic wellness. So you're looking, here's some movements, and you can call them little micro workouts. It's mostly body weight stuff, but in some of the days is mental health. It's like, go play your favorite song 3 times, go on a walk, go for 5 minutes, unplug, do this, do that, just sit for a moment, take a breath. Any of those things. So it comes down to that mental health aspect. And then it includes just some tips on nutrition. Like, hey, where were you at today? Did you drink your water? Like, where's protein? Like, are you feeling
Kelsey said that to me once, she said it to me 100 times. Because I'll say, we'll talk, and she's just like, well, so how are you today? Or what are you doing today? That kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm a little, did you drink water?
Yep. Everything comes back to it.
Even if you know exactly what you're doing and you work in a gym and you know all the right things to do, sometimes you just need that little reminder. Like that app is fantastic. You just need someone to say,
No,
hey,
it's huge.
How are you doing on your protein? Because you know exactly what to do.
Hey,
You just
absolutely.
need that little, hey.
What happened today? And
Yeah.
it was, and I mean, I'm guilty of skipping a meal, not getting enough water, and not getting enough protein. So I still have to check myself, and that's in my nutrition program. It's daily targets that we talk about, because it's all about food relationship before I'll go into anything macros. So I do 8 lessons in my nutrition program, and in lesson 2, that's when we go into what are your daily targets? Like literally, what are 3 things if you did them every day, they keep you mostly on track? And like just throughout the day. Yeah. And it's kind of like that personal check or a friend check.
Little reminder.
Yes. Yeah. And so I pause throughout the day to be like, ooh, have I done my daily targets today? Because if I haven't, that's why I have a headache. That's why I'm drained. That's why I'm lethargic. That's why I'm not feeling great. Or that's even why I'm super starving right now. Oh, you know what? I didn't do this.
I got caffeine today because I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us get very stuck in that cycle. And so that's, again, the challenge helps with that. But
one of the tough things for us, and we talked about it on a couple of podcasts recently, is like we don't like to cook at our house. There isn't.
It's a thing.
There's no one that likes to cook. That's hard, and you forget about that, and before you know it, you can reach for the wrong things rather easily.
Very easily.
Finding that combination of wanting to cook, even if you love to cook, but then you have to cook something that's going to actually be nutritious for you and fill those things. What are some tips you have? If you had like a couple of tips for people who are just getting started, they're thinking about getting involved in one of your subscriptions or thinking about picking up dumbbells maybe for the first time, or they're just taking a look at their diet thinking something's got to change, but I'm not quite sure what would you say to those people?
Ooh. Okay, so that's kind of
Not to just
loaded.
Everything on your plate, but
so on the food side, to get started, I would honestly just have them write down what they eat. Not track it, like go into MyFitnessPal and find out the macros. Just write down what they eat.
Write it down. Yeah.
That bring that awareness. So that's just kind of that overline. And then the next thing is write a list, make a list, whether you think it, write it, speak it, whatever works for you. What are foods you like? What are seasonings you like, sauces you like? And by foods, I mean, you don't have to just put them in categories to try to guess, oh, this is a protein, this is a carb, this is fat. I'm not asking for that. Literally, what foods do you like? And the seasonings, because then you start to go, oh, these are the things I like. Great. Now, how are you going to make them? How are you going to put them together? How can you simplify that? So in our fridge at home, Lance and I, we always have some kind of taco burrito-y, something made and then rice made. Like, and it's always there. So we know it's always there. And then anything else is usually chicken or noodles and vegetables, things that are available. And then there's the fun dishes that still come into play.
We had a guest on a few weeks ago from, they're the owners of a farm to fork grocery store on far west Center Street called Ellsworth Crossing.
Yes.
And a couple of things. One, they have a lot of recipes on their website, so you don't have to think about it. But one of the things that we talked about with Tony is that with AI now, you can stand at your fridge or look into your cupboards and speak into AI and say, I have this, you know, so on and so forth. What
can I make?
Dinner ideas can we make?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
And it's amazing because we couldn't do it back in the day. I actually had to have Betty Crocker's cookbook or something. I have to flip through it. And so times have changed. I actually just had a client on that kick of AI. I said, great, send me all the things that you like. And I'm going to then put that into AI. It's my partner. I mean, I don't have any, like, that's my staff. And just say, give 4 high protein recipes, things that would be easy to make. So that's like conversation. I have another nutrition client that she is a vegetarian and she doesn't enjoy the meats, if you will. So the tunas, the fish, any of that, she's not enjoying it. So it's like, cool, let's use AI, figure out how can we get your protein up because we're under calories, we're doing a lot of, if you will, caffeine. And so like, how can we fix this and make this better?
Sure.
And so it's like, seriously, like let's use it.
Yeah.
Let's ask questions, because you and I, it would take so much longer to get there,
Really
to
would.
process.
Even if you have this breadth of knowledge and all of
yeah.
these certifications, it takes so long to dig through that. But I love that you guys brought up AI, because I feel like it can be such a double-edged sword in the health and wellness industry. Because one of my favorite things you mentioned about your app is that you have a video demonstration. Because you can plug in, I want a 30-minute dumbbell workout for a woman, and it will spit this out for you, but it's not taking into account, you know, who you are, where you're starting off. It's not giving you a demonstration. It's not helping you do those things safely.
Right.
Are you finding that people are struggling using that, or did you have to take into account any of that when you put your workouts into your app?
You know, I continually take on the feedback as I build everything in the app. So if something's hard, there are always options in there. And if you don't see the option, that's when I say, hey, put a fire under you. So you ask me, hey, Meg, what could I do instead of? If something's bothering you, I want to do this. So I haven't necessarily found that struggle yet. I do my best to seek to keep things very basic, like kind of in that first phase, and then build onto that. And teach, because I have to teach them what are tempos, what are reps in reserve, what is failure, what's a drop set, so you get into the lingo, right? So I have to teach that, and that means they have to read things, and oftentimes we just want to do things.
Right.
And that's the hard part. That is where I probably have more clients get stuck, is they're just doing the reps and they're not paying attention to tempo or the ask on that side.
Or even breathing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
that's the
tough.
thing,
I love
too.
that you incorporate all of those stuff into your app, because you have to remind people, you have to remind them to drink water. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't need that. I absolutely need someone
Yeah.
to say, are you breathing through this workout? Because no, you're not.
I have a couple of clients that I'm always like, just breathe. We're holding our breath, and she knows who she is, specifically one of them, because I'm always telling her, and I know she would be more than comfortable. Yeah.
Have you seen a rise? I feel like we saw a rise at the physical location with women getting more interested in weightlifting. I love that I think that your service is super valuable, specifically right now, because I feel like we've seen women get more into that than ever before, or at least in my experience.
Yeah.
And I love that benefit for them. So can you explain a little bit about how beneficial this can be, just not even just for your looks, but how you feel in the long run, how weightlifting can impact women's bodies?
Absolutely. Well, whether you're a man or a woman, we are losing muscle every day, pretty much after the age of 30, right? So we know that. So we were just talking about things. So it's, how do you help that? So number one, that health factor of the muscle, to keep it or add it on. Then you're looking at, for me with women, a huge thing is confidence. It's just when you can do something on your own, you pick up some heavy things, it's that confidence and even competence and things. And so that helps. It still helps with heart health as well. Yes, that's more cardio, but we still get that from strength training. It's going to help with your brain. It helps with your coordination. It's going to help with bone health. So we just sit there like, you can keep adding this gamut. All these things is going to be that trade-off. Or, hey, put in some time, let's get stronger. And it's not going to bulk you up. And so that's that flip side of it.
I feel like that's
so,
a very common misconception
so
with women.
tons of benefits.
Yeah.
On there.
The gym, so this is odd, but us being together every day in a gym for the last 6-7 years, I really wasn't working out. So I started a routine again, but I overheard a lady the other day talking to this guy, and I didn't realize what age they were. They were both in their 80s, and the lady was heading toward her 90s. And he was telling her that she's his motivation. He goes, listen, you don't know this, but you're my motivation because I see you in here and how hard you work out. And she was saying that she had some health issues she had been diagnosed with like 51 years ago. And she started working out then. You would not believe the shape she's in and how strong she is.
It's amazing.
I think she was 87 or 88.
That's amazing.
No, it's huge. It's
but
huge.
we need that. So it's even, so you go off of age, you go off of time, you go off of whether it's a disease or you hit a roadblock. I can speak to my mom being 75-ish, right? That she had back surgery in October. And her story in that, what was so cool is she's like, I could get up off the floor because she did strength training, because she cared about her health, because she was moving. And that scare of, if you haven't been doing this, that's not available to you. Like, it's going to be a lot harder to heal, to process, but to move in and of itself, that's the scary part. Yes, aesthetics are amazing.
Right.
I always tell my brothers, this is just aesthetically pleasing. I don't need to help around when they're doing heavy stuff for my parents. I was like, no.
Right.
Like, I'm good. They're like, you're the strong one. You're the one who works out all this. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean I want to do all the things.
I'm
This is
just a girl.
like,
That's
I'm
what
just
I-
so pretty. So pretty. But it's that piece of, yes, you get the aesthetics from it, but you get the strength, you get the health, you get the movement, and to be able to get in and out of a car, use the restroom, get off the floor, get out of
Lower
it.
your
And
risk of
that's
fractures.
like this lady I'm
straight
talking
up.
about at the gym. She was just healthy.
Yes.
She wasn't big. She wasn't muscular. She wasn't anything. She was a healthy weight, healthy build. I mean, all of it.
Sometimes I feel like people resign to, oh, I'm going to be this age,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to be in shape. It's just
Right.
not going to happen.
Or even when
for
you
me.
get to a certain point,
Yeah.
I think, when I look back at when my dad was my age or something like that, you were older at that age back then.
Oh, you were.
And and then you almost become resigned to the fact, like, well, this is my,
That's what's
let's
going
see,
to
my
happen
average,
to me.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
Such
like
an
to defy
important-
the odds.
Yeah,
Like, on
you brought
everything.
up such an important point on that is not only, I think like it's absolutely fantastic if you get an unfortunate health diagnosis and that's your kickstart to get healthy. But my mom had the same issue. She got very sick with salmonella poisoning and almost couldn't walk. And she beforehand, she had been walking like 5 miles a day. And being in that shape before something bad happens makes it so much easier and improves your outcomes for when something does happen.
Yeah.
So I hope people understand that, it's fantastic if you're getting in shape after something bad happens, but it's also important to, especially women, I think in those ages that you mentioned, a lot of us are having kids, we're losing who we are or ourselves, and we're not thinking in the long run, this isn't just for me, this is for my whole family getting
It is.
healthy.
And you do have to put yourself first. I don't have children, but the whole point is, I'll put it this way. Having a conversation with my mom, so I have 2 older brothers, so she had 3 kids, and my mom will say to this day, she wishes she would have put herself first sooner.
Absolutely.
When I work with moms, they end up saying they wish they would have put themselves first sooner. And it's not that you're not there for your kids or your other loved ones, your partners, or things that you have to do, but you have to be well to be present. You have to be well to do the things with your kids. You have to be
Right.
well to go play.
You have to be
well
around,
to
right.
work. Well,
And
yes.
even
see
if you
it-
don't have kids, if you want to keep up with your job or whatever
gosh,
goals you
yes.
have,
Right.
you need to be in your best position you
To
can
be
in.
well, just yes, but still on for my clients, for my animals, for my boyfriend, for my family, like all these things I still need to feel well for it. And that's why I choose the path. I actually choose to get up super early. I don't love it, but I choose it. I live it. But but it's that whole process. I mean, everyone's like, wow, you get up early. I'm like, yeah, because then I've done it. I can say I've done it.
You get it
And
out
then
of the
I
way before
get,
you
the
get
rest of the
derailed.
day, as well as live that example. And there are times that I'm like, I just want to stay sleeping and I want to hit snooze 4 more times. And it's that point where I sit there and go, I know I'm going to feel better after doing this. So let's go ahead and get up. The intent is this.
Right.
Fantastic.
So Megan, I know we talked about this a few days ago when we talked on the phone, but before you know it, time's up.
I know.
I know. Isn't that crazy? So, but then we talked about coming back.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We're going to, obviously, we'll stay in contact and we'll get together and we'd love to have you back.
That'd be
Thousands of
amazing.
things we'd love
So
to
let's,
ask.
before we exit though, what's your website again?
My website is www.liveitforward.com, but it's LIVEITFWD. So forward is abbreviated, like the old school way.
Well, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you
And
got it. Thank you,
know,
guys.
we talk forever. So
I love it.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for joining us. In the next few weeks, we'll be talking a little bit more about everything that's happening here in the community over the summer and kind of an overview of the different community events. Thanks so much for joining.